Hi guys, it's Pleasance here from Little Ohm, and I wanted to tell you a little about my own personal Thrive story. I have been on a journey my whole life, like all of us, exploring our inner life, exploring our habits, exploring our patterns, and seeing what works and doesn't. And I think also after practicing yoga for so many years now over time and meditation that I'm really became more in tune around the things that were working in my career and in my life and the things that weren't. And here's what I noticed. I had a pattern of creating something and building something and being all in, being totally passionate and obsessed with it, and then getting to the top, right? So I was a principal at age 28 after being a teacher, getting my graduate degree, being a teacher in a classroom, being a teacher leader, starting all these programs within the school, getting recruited for leadership, getting recruited for principal programs, getting recruited for new leaders for new schools, getting recruited for superintendent programs for urban districts, and became a principal at age 28. And at the top of my sort of game, I became restless and uncomfortable and started some really bad numbing behaviors and started feeling really down on myself. And I just was really uncomfortable, really had a lot of discomfort. Also, I was young, right? Like I was not even 30. So I understand that part of it is also maturity. When I started my life over again and got really into yoga, I was already teaching yoga when I was teaching in DC public schools, but kind of moving beyond that and moving into more of making yoga my full-time life, especially around creating Little Ohm because there wasn't a center in DC for moms and babies and families that was close to me that I could go to, that had childcare, that hired moms who were teachers, right? So created this center in the studio and did almost the same thing, right? Became super passionate about something, went all in, created this big thing, got to the head, got to a really high income, high stress, but really based on the passion and the love that I had for it. And that time around, I was faced with two different autoimmune issues. One was after my son was born, I lost 60% of my hair in huge chunks of bald spots and covered it up because I was really embarrassed about it. And I started getting shots into my head and acupuncture and having to step back and really assess, was I taking care of myself while I was taking care of everybody else? And it's hard for me because I'm a giver. There's a lot of you out there. You're givers. You're into service. You love other people. So there's a really fine line between what's good for me in giving and then what crosses the line into over giving, overdoing. And I think this is just something I'm going to deal with. I'm going to need to be aware of for the rest of my life. And I'm okay with it now because I'm watching all of this happen and trying to be more intentional with the pattern. So let's go back to the story. There I am, moving the studio, having my second kiddo, and losing a lot of my hair and then having it be in these bald spots and then trying to hide it from everybody. And then fast forward a few years after that, 2 more years after that, we started the National Kids Yoga Conference. Another great idea. I thought I had time and could handle it. And the truth was I was way out of my comfort zone. It was so much work. And I'm not an event planner. I mean, I wore the hat of one and I did it. And Michelle Mitchell and YoKid and what they pulled off, and they've kept it going now. And I just, support and help them every year. But it was a lot more than I was anticipating. And I already had a very full life with my children and my husband and not having family here and the studio and the demands and the students and the emails. I mean, it was just so much. And at that point, I had about 20 extra pounds on my body and I kind of lost my zest for life. Like, I'm a very energetic, passionate, positive person by nature. So when I wasn't feeling that way, I thought, oh, something is not right. So I went to my natural doctor, said, please test me for things. I'm feeling like I'm so heavy, like not just weight, it's just I feel heavy and I feel like crying and I have all these wonderful things in my life that I've built. Why don't I feel good? And we went through all the testing, and it came out that I had a very low, not a very severe case of adrenal fatigue, but I did have it, and I didn't have, everything was not working as it should, and my all my hormones and my adrenals, they were just off, they were overworking, and it was time to kind of pause, rein it in. I did a lot of supplements, went back to a lot of acupuncture. This is when I did some shamanic healing work to try to really get at the root of this pattern in my life of being everything to everyone, really overextending myself, and not feeling secure in my own heart, in my own life, that I'm worth rest, and that it's okay, that I'm worthy just as I am, right? That it's okay just as I am. I don't need to add all these other things to my resume to prove that I'm worth it. So that's what I really discovered. And that was in fall, that was fall 4 years ago, 2013. And I, ever since then, have been pulling back the layers, right? Really committing to my morning routine, really committing to resting, going to bed early and taking care of myself, committing to baths and journaling and reading and writing and just listening to my soul. And 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago or 18 months ago, I created the course called Thrive, which is around the behind the scenes principles of how over time I developed this, like, the deepest, most amazing love and care for myself in order to stop the habits that were causing health issues and mental stress. And I'm not saying that I don't have stress or that I don't get a cold or I don't have all these things that are human, experience anger or frustration. Of course I do. I'm human. I experience the whole range of emotions daily sometimes. But I trust myself, and I know how to take care of myself, and I know what nourishes me, and I know how to say no, and I learned how to have boundaries, and I learned that it's all, these cycles and these seasons are so beautiful when you stop and pay attention, and when you learn how to handle your emotions and how to sit with your fear and how to, again, trust yourself deeply. But I found that I really can't do that, and I really could never do that until I learned the deepest self-care. So I know self-care is a really hot topic right now, and for me, it's never been about manis and petties. It's always been around, like, can I get quiet enough to listen and move my body and meditate and nourish myself in ways that feel good so that I have more energy and I have more light and life to give from the wholeness rather than from depletion. And I know that some of you who are also ambitious and motivated and educated like I am, that it's been a lifelong habit. It's been a lifelong practice of being distracted and saying yes. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. But I promise you, you can do it. And I really encourage you to do it, because on this side, I feel so much joy. I feel so much ease in my body and accepting it and love for my life. And I don't have a fancy house. And as you can see, my dishes in the back. And I just love life, and loving myself has allowed me that space to do it. And that's what I want for other women. These things that I'm learning, these things that I teach, I wish I'd had in school, or that my mom had taught me, or that there had been some kind of pass down. And now it's my life's mission without the energy and the passion. Okay, so in the past, when I was talking about, I always went all in and burnt myself out because I have a lot of fire in my belly and my body. That's just how I'm made. And that's Ayurveda, right? Which I'm obsessed with. And I want to teach you more about. So in Ayurveda, you learn who you are, and then you learn why your habits and patterns keep going that way, right? So what if this time, as I'm building Thrive and building Little Om Life and working on my business, what if I didn't do it all in? What if I didn't do it 24/7? What if I allowed myself blocks of hours to work and write, and then I encouraged myself to go outside or walk the dog or pet the dog or go downstairs and do some yoga or call somebody or cook some food, right? Like, so intentionally putting these breaks in so that I can take care of myself so I'm not burning out. There's not a depletion at the end of the day. There's a deep rest and there's a deep trust in the rhythm that tomorrow I'll get up again early, I'll write again, I'll move my body. Like, the rhythm and the routine has provided this foundation from which I can build this business in a different way than I've done anything in my life. And it feels so good and it's really successful on all levels. And I just really want you to have that. So that's about my Thrive story. I'm going to be sharing with you other Thrive stories. There's some on littleom.com/thrive. And I'm just really inviting you to come join us, thinking about health, thinking about vitality and being vibrant and energized in your life, and understanding your energy and how it works and how that integrates with your planning your life and how you exercise and how you eat. Like, so awesome how connected, how holistic our lives are, how all these little bubbles, our relationships to others, our relationship to self are all connected in really cool ways. And I can't wait to teach you about that and study with you and share with you and hear from you around what insights you have. So namaste.